Hello everybody, Ainz here. Some people watch anime for Sakega. I watch it for Sasega. Sasega Ainz-sama. Welcome back everybody to Overlord Season 4. Is my camera delayed? No, I don't think it is. It just looked that way. Yeah, hopefully there's no delay. Right, Overlord Season 4, Episode 2. Finally, Episode 1, as is sometimes the case with Overlord, at least it was the case with Season 3. I think it also was the case with Season 2 even. Starts in a very slice of lifey kind of sorta manner. We're getting some shenanigans with the Guardians, with Albedo, with Ora, with Mare, with Ainz, and it's overall happy times. And during those happy times, we set up what we're gonna be doing next, what we're gonna be doing in this particular season. And it seems like in this season, we're going to be building up the kingdom of the magic king emperor, whatever Ainz's title is now, the emperor sorcerer king. Yeah, we're gonna be developing the sorcerer kingdom in many ways. One of the venues, of course, is through the Adventurers Guild, who is now under Ainz's protection, under the kingdom's protection, so to speak, or rather, it is the kingdom's property. And now the adventurers are going to be used to actually adventure, to make contact with other cities, other races, other unknown cultures, all for the benefit of the Sorcerer Kingdom. At least that's the plan. How it's gonna go, we don't know. Demiurge is somewhere. Albedo requested a visit, requested some time off to visit the Besties kingdom, I believe that's where she went. So again, there are many shenanigans to be had. What's gonna happen exactly, I don't know. All I know is that supposedly, I heard, there is like 2 arcs or 3 arcs or something like that, fewer arcs than in previous seasons, that will be adapted in this season. So we can expect a little bit of a better pacing, a little bit less content cut, perhaps because the next 2 arcs after those are like a double arc, essentially two-parter, 4 arcs, and that's gonna be adapted into a movie. That's what I heard. So I'm gonna be on a lookout for the changes to pacing, for how good or how bad the pacing of this season is. Anything else that needs to be mentioned? Nothing really comes to mind. I think we can just safely start watching it, and only then we will find out what's going to happen. So, sound, subs, why are you running? Why are you running? Why are you running? And with all that, support! You can support the channel on Patreon, thrown in the description, or by just sharing my content. You also get some stuff for Patreon, like early access, votes in polls, and stuff like that. And with all that out of the way, we can finally start watching Overlord Season 4, Episode 2, version by subs, please. And we can do that as soon as in 3, 2, 1, go. The easiest, for sure. Yeah, what is your role in all of that, Ainz? Kiwi juice. Or kiwi syrup with some water. Yeah, essentially a very big guild. Fifth is just freaking out here. Jesus Christ, the maids. uh Okay, we're finally getting the OP. Okay. Okay. I can see that. Brain. Okay. All the characters we know and love. Okay, not the worst CG I've seen. Dragons. Okay, that's cool. A gladiator arc of some sort. Some brand new character. A little bit of fighting against someone with a fucking gun. Okay. Who's that? Uh, the dragon at the beginning of season 3 has a suit of armor. Is that the dragon controlling the armor? Is that what it is? I think that might be the dragon. I think I might be onto something. Yatta! Okay, she's just visiting an orphanage. She established an orphanage. Okay. She's going for the same things that Ainz is going for. Interesting. I mean, you're undead. You're not necessarily one to speak. True. Just like she saved Climb. Exactly. Yeah, keep them off the streets. And of course, the potential to raise some exceptional individuals. Just like Ainz. You'd think they're coordinating. I wonder if it's not something that Demiurge maybe is doing behind the scenes. Giving some ideas to Renner to Climb, maybe? I don't know. Probably not. Nobody. Yeah. Right, talent holders. What nefarious purpose do you have behind knowing of talents, Renner? Because I don't believe it's just your curiosity. Yeah. Evil Eye is right. Of course. Sure. Whatever you want, princess. Does she? Or is it just her Chuni persona? It's just her Chuni imagination. You're laying on my dick! Right, they need to raise their levels back up. Exactly. Yeah, right. Momon. Not Momonga. Momon-sama. Momon is a fangirl. Is Evil Eye gonna figure out that Momon and the Sorcerer King are the same person? Something tells me that if there's someone to figure it out, it would be either Evil Eye or Renner. Little did you know. Okay, what's in your head, Renner? He's probably been eaten or taken to Nazarick to be taken apart and used to make furniture, Rimworld style. Yeah, exactly as he was planning to do. Renner? Renner. Yeah. After witnessing something like that, you'd retreat somewhere safe, somewhere calm. Asking for an audience would be first step. And a tribute, sure. Just a courtesy between nobles. Just send a little gift. Oh? Albedo? Ah, Renner. Okay, the night the guard was in CG. That's good. Who's the envoy? Just casually mentioning it. I mean, let's be honest. If there's someone who has the qualities to be a king, to be a ruler of this kingdom, it would be either Zanak or Renner. There isn't really anybody else that comes to mind. Okay, some Rando Sensei, with an intense gaze. Brain's teacher. And I recognize this voice. That's a fairly common old man voice actor. And more so. Okay, so both of them trained under this dude. Vesture Clove Dilofen. I'm not gonna remember that. Yeah. True, Brain does have the strength but doesn't have the soft skills, so to speak. Let's be honest, no matter how many you gather, it's just not gonna be anything. In full plate? Who the fuck greets an envoy in full plate? Okay, the soldiers are CG. Jesus, okay, everything is CG. There go my hopes. But at least it's not atrocious. And when they're still, they actually look good. Only when they move do you see the atrocity. Death Cavalier. Okay. Okay, it's not the worst CG I've seen. So it's already a step up from Season 3. And who's that gonna be? Albedo? Albedo herself! That's a very nice dress, Albedo. Ainz got a new drip, only stands to reason that Albedo would also get some new drip. I'm sure of that. Lady Albedo has arrived. Suddenly silence. Is he gonna fall in love, the poor fucking sod? That's your death, mate. You're dead. You're dead. On the spot. Fucking vaporized. How's he gonna die? My bet is on vaporization. You're too close. How about I call you that guy? I guess he's not dead. Color me surprised. Color me surprised that he's still alive. I mean, yeah, makes sense. He's smart. He's smart. Like, just give yourselves up to the Sorcerer King. You have no way of winning anyway. Yeah, there's nobody left to fight, exactly. He's smart. Okay, so that's not... That's really not a big domain, is it? I thought it's at least like a couple of hamlets, but no, it's just a single village. Yeah. And seeing how the Sorcerer Kingdom is having issues with trade, they could be an intermediary. Yeah, that's not gonna fly, but you're having some cool ideas. Open air? Okay, did she see your future potential as a traitor of the house or as a food for I don't fucking know Pestonia? Oh, Pestonia probably doesn't eat people. Food for Entoma, I guess. Yeah, because you have fuck all of a presence and no charisma. You're just a little nobody noble. It doesn't. You can't exactly like bring a king to your little tiny bowl. Okay. He didn't vaporize at Albedo's very touch. That's a running theme, isn't it? Yes, to the Sorcerer King. Yeah, whatever you think is gonna happen ain't gonna happen, my dude. No, you better fucking don't. Okay, I genuinely thought he's just gonna fall into dust, or his hand has been frozen off or something. Feeding ground. Wait, Hilma. Uh, is she the one from third season? One of the five fingers, or however many there were? The one who was dragged off by Mare and had her legs broken? Yeah, I think that's her. You don't. Trust me? You don't. You don't, my dude. Uh, you lose to her in status, you don't even realize how much. Yeah. Yeah, holding her throat. A little bit of a PTSD are we having? Okay, how's he gonna die? Right. Wait, that's it? That's the episode? Well, that flew by. Okay, what's that? A skinning room? Straight to the point. Straight to the point. Oh, that's a nice art. That's a very nice art of Shaltier. And of Adebedo. I love her staff. I love the design. I've no clue what it's called, but I think we've seen it already. Is it light novel art? I think it might be light novel art. Madhouse, Madbox, the usual suspects. Okay, after credits scene. Renner? Renner! Okay. So they are conspiring together. What's the reward? A brainwasher? What's the other thing she desires? Okay, I'm scared. Okay, an invasion is coming. Cool, cool, cool. What's the shadow? Just a little bit of a girl talk. Oh, I love it. I love the idea of Albedo and Renner just having a little bit of a girl talk. Just having a girls' night out, talking about how much of a psycho each of them is. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, let's go through this. Let's go through this episode again, shall we? Yes, we shall. You can't respond. It's not alive. The best would be best to rule as an iron-fisted dictator. Maybe not best, but easiest for sure. You don't have to deal with other diplomats and politics and whatnot. What you say is the rule. Simple as. It doesn't prevent you from getting like advisors, right? I don't understand their desire for world domination. If the Sorcerer Kingdom becomes known for treating all races equally, I could create the same environment I had with my comrades in the past. That is the ultimate goal for Ainz. To create a place where everybody is treated equally, just like Nazarick was a guild of non-humans, where they could all be treated equally. Maybe I should do things on my own. That would be very interesting to see. Ainz just going somewhere adventuring. The OP is cool. One thing I have to mention, because I watched Ruby episode 2 not long ago, and this is how you do washed out monochromatic elements in your OP. A little bit of a character card, 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 character card. That's Nigredo, I think. Character card, character card, and that's it. That's all there is in monochromatic washed out colors. The rest is full color, fairly vibrant. Now, Overlord in general has a fairly washed out color palette. It's not particularly vibrant show, but it's as vibrant as it gets, essentially. That's how you do it. Monochromatic and washed out elements are a stylistic element, something you add, some accent. It's that little pinch of a chili pepper in your dish, right? You wouldn't just eat a bowl of chili pepper flakes, but you would add some chili pepper to your soup or to your goulash or to anything, right? And Ruby OP is essentially eating a bowl of dry ass chili flakes. Overlord OP is a nice dish with some chili flakes sprinkled on top. Right. The elephant in the room. CG. It's certainly improved compared to the previous season. When it's a still, when everybody stays still, it looks decent. It looks actually decent. When they move, that's when issues arise. Also, the way you can very easily see its CG, the detail, right? See how tiny the faces get on those zombies in front until they lose detail. They don't lose detail. And the detail just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. In 2D art, there's a point somewhere like a third across the screen, a third along this line, the characters would start losing detail. There would be fewer shadows, everybody would be just splotches of color, and that's how you could very easily tell it's 2D. This is CG. I haven't seen any show that utilizes CG and tries to imitate 2D that would actually do something about it. And technically, it's not the hardest thing to do. You essentially create LODs, level of detail textures, for the characters. If they're far from camera, they get less detailed. If they're close to camera, they get more detailed. Exactly like in 2D art. If something's up close, it gets a lot of detail. If something's far away, the face is just a blob of color. You don't see the eyes, you don't see the shadows on their hair, right? It's something that can be overcome, but I haven't seen anybody overcome it. Brain and climb, protecting Ainzak. No, not Ainzak. Protecting what's his face, the king and Renner. From whom? We don't know. From the Emperor? Probably not. The Emperor is probably pissing his pants right now. This is rough. This is rough. Some of those wolves look good. The one in front looks good. The one to the very right here looks good. The rest, not really. Not really, no. Especially when juxtaposed with the one that isn't CG, right? You can see how differently the fur is made. Even just that difference tells you what is CG, what is 2D, and it's just a little bit jarring. It's better than the Goblin Army, don't get me wrong, it's leagues fucking better than the Goblin Army, but it's a very low bar to pass, let's be honest here. This dude is gonna be more of a prominent figure, I'm assuming. Dragons, a dragon nerd. Cool. This dude is gonna continue being a dude. That's interesting. I genuinely thought he's gonna die sooner or later. Their adventurers team, some other weird adventurers team, very tribal themed. Another adventurer team, They have a nun, they have a knight with silver hair. That's the knight who's later fighting Cocytus. No. Fighting someone. This isn't CG. I can appreciate that. Gonna get some arena arc. Mini arc at least. Animated on once. The cardinal mistake of CG animation. Being animated on once. Yeah, that's the king lady, maybe? And she's fighting against a Death Knight, not even against Cocytus, just against Death Knight. And Albedo is fighting. What is that Gundam thing? That's just a Gundam. That's not a dude in armor. It's a Gundam. Okay, we can expect some interesting things. Brain against Cocytus. I'm very much looking forward to this fight. If it's actually a fight that's gonna happen and not just a tease. And this is, yeah, that's the dragon. Dragon head on the arm. That's the dragon controlling the armor. Has to be. And Albedo constantly has this little staff. That's interesting. Everybody going against the Dragon Knight. Even Pandora's actor seems he's gonna have a little bit of more of a prominent role in this season. Now let's talk about another aspect of the OP. The OP. The song. Initially I liked it, but as the time went on and there was no drop, I'm kinda iffy on that. Overlord music, Overlord OPs and EDs always had some bite to them, right? They might have started a little bit poppy at the beginning, but then there came the time for a drop, and you'd have something with a bite, something with some teeth, right? Veracity would be a great example of that. This is not it. It's it's very much an Overlord OP. It very much fits the theme, but it doesn't have the teeth. It doesn't have the teeth, and I'm very much missing the bite. Very much missing the drop. Very much missing the little bit of spice, that little bit of screaming, maybe that little bit of more of electric guitars, maybe some pipe organs. You know, something to elevate it from just some rocky pop. I guess J-rock. J-rock is essentially rocky pop, so I guess it classifies as J-rock. Maybe, I don't know. And then we have an explanation why Renner is doing pretty much the exact same things that Ainz is doing. They're collaborating. They're in it together. Interesting. I don't know when they made contact. I think it might have happened off screen. Or maybe we're actually gonna see it in some flashback. Maybe, I don't know. Of course, she started an orphanage. She's the benevolent princess of the country, after all, right? She absolutely does not have any ulterior motives. Perish the thought. And she's correct, though. We have to take care of the children, to take them off the streets, to reduce crime, to maybe find some exceptional individuals. And also that explains her interest in talents. Because Ainz is interested in talents. And she's looking for talent information for Ainz. If there happens to be a child with a talent, they're gonna be shipped off to Nazareth next day delivery. Fuck it, same day delivery. That's my bet. That's my bet. And I think it's safe to say that it's a winning one. Yeah, as soon as there's someone with a talent, they're getting carted off to Nazareth. Or at least to the Sorcerer Kingdom. Perhaps to some orphanage for the gifted or a school for the gifted. Named after Ainz. Or something like that. Ainz Ooal Gown School for the Gifted. That'd be interesting. That'd be a very interesting idea. Ainz would be able to research talents at will, essentially, all at the same time cultivating strong characters, strong people that will help him in the future, maybe, if need be. There isn't any need, let's be honest here. Ainz can just steamroll any fucking nation in this world that we've seen so far, at least. But don't tell me it wouldn't be a good idea to have a little elite squad of like 20 hero level subordinates that she brought up from a child. Right? Tell me it's not a good idea. Don't tell me it's not a good idea. Because it is a good idea. I'm very interested in talents, of course. And of course, Evil Eye doesn't want to say what hers is, because talents are very important. Talking about Chunibyo. And yeah, you can't exactly fight against the Sorcerer King. Lord Momon might, but Lord Momon is working under Ainz, or so they think. No sign of Prince Barbaro, and there won't be any. Yeah, this dude retreated. No wonder. Yeah, Raven is probably not gonna be back. How to deal with the Sorcerer Kingdom? Complete and total subservience. Like, that's the only way. That's genuinely the only solution. There is no other way. Of course, he wants to avoid looking subservient in front of nobles. And of course, she knows everything, and she even knows that someone's arriving, or perhaps she herself invited Albed over here. Or maybe they just planned it together, who knows, during one of their girl nights, sleepovers. Maybe, wouldn't surprise me if they had regular sleepovers. Honestly. They're besties. A diplomatic mission. I'll give you a domain in some remote area. Yeah, she doesn't want that. She's in the graces of the Sorcerer King. Why the fuck does she care about some lesser being offering her some plot of land? This dude, his voice, very common, very, very common. I'm gonna look him up real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna look him up, assuming, of course, annual list is updated. Overlord 4 annual list, real quick. Characters, no, the dude isn't listed. Maybe on my anime list. Overlord 4. Let's see. Okay, my anime list actually lists more characters. Yeah, even Ainzak, Fifth, Foire, Hamske doesn't list this one dude, but it is a very recognizable voice. It really is. Okay, let's continue. He's been under the tutelage of this old dude. Brain was When he lost in the previous tournament. But yeah, he's changed. He's been humbled. He's been knocked down a fair few pegs. And this dude is a retired adamantite adventurer, Vesture Cloth de Leufen. Of course. Why wouldn't he be? Someone to inherit Gazev's position as head warrior, and he's apparently looking for some promising kids to fulfill that position. So far, the only candidate as far as the heart and the mind is concerned, probably Climb, but he's not quite up to snuff when it comes to power, right? Climb is very much capped at gold, as they said. I wonder what will Brain's search bring. Will he actually find some exceptional kid that can be trained and brought up to be the head warrior? Interesting. Dark clouds, total control over the weather, flaming horses, dark horses, death cavaliers, or chevaliers, or however you pronounce it in this case. Okay, animated on twos. But see, this is a dead giveaway. Again, that it's CG and not 2D. A CG character would just move their head, not their entire torso. Right? It's those little things. It's those little things. Now, those models, when they're still, like, completely, let's ignore the flaming horses because there's no way in hell to take them for 2D. They are very distinctly CG, and they can't really do anything to make them look 2D. But the dark horses and the dark knights, the death chevaliers, death cavaliers, whatever. Again, on stills, in still frames, they look like kind of bottom of the barrel, but 2D. It's not great 2D, but it's distinctly 2D. They don't look CG. It's only when they move. Because there is, and not even in the knights. Like, I could believe it if someone told me that the knights are just like PNGs being moved up and down, but on the horses. Take a look at the harness in front, how the highlight changes a bit. In 2D, the highlight wouldn't change this way. It really wouldn't. It would be, there wouldn't be that little bit of a highlight. It would just be a full highlight, maybe like a couple of changes, and then back to no highlight. Same goes for the head armor on the horse, right? The highlights change a lot. In case of 2D, even if there's a lot of movement, the highlights and the shadows don't change that much, because it's a lot of work to reshade and re-highlight a character, a frame. The flaming horses, of course, a lot of particle effects, texture on their bones. Yeah, they're not fooling anybody that they're 2D. The carriage looks decent, and I believe some animated on ones. That's another dead giveaway that something is CG. It's animated on ones at 24 frames per second, not 12. This is 12. And this? Okay, a little forward. Maybe not this, because I think that's on ones. Yeah, that's all on ones. The hand movement, that's all on ones. But from this point on, it looks 2D enough. This doesn't look 2D enough because you can see the difference in like color palette a little bit and in the line work between the horse and Zack's, Ainz, whatever, prince's armor. Prince's armor and his horse's armor all have uniform thickness lines. Because that's how 2D art is made, usually. The line work is usually of more or less uniform thickness. In case of the horse, you have some thicker lines, you have some thinner lines, because that's how shading works. Smaller detail will have thinner lines. You can very easily tell that it's some 2D imposed over a CG render. Even in the stills. But yeah, it doesn't look the worst. It's no Goblin Army, that's for sure. I was hoping we're just not gonna have CG. Or very limited CG. I really was hoping against all hope. Alas. Lady Aribedo. At least she is not CG. That's what matters, right? Main characters not being CG. Some bull. I really thought this dude is just gonna die, is just gonna be vaporized by her very presence. Thankfully not. He's smart. Gonna give him that. He knows that their best shot as some lesser nobles with barely any land, with just a single village to their name, is allying themselves with someone strong. Someone strong who doesn't have any allies yet. Being the first ally gives you a lot of power, a lot of privileges. It gives you a lot of possibilities. Right? Hey, oh, yeah, we're gonna give you our domain, no problem. We're gonna be subservient. Ainz Ooal Gown, Sama, Banzai, and all that. But hey, if you're gonna be invading my neighbor, like, I know those lands, you don't. Maybe I could rule those lands in your name. In your name, Ainz Ooal Gown, Sama, I will rule them, those lands, right? You can go for that. You can use the situation. So he has the right thinking. We should nurture a relationship just in case the Sorcerer Kingdom invades. Exactly. And even if you don't get a bit of land to rule, you'll be spared in a massacre that is surely to occur if you have good relations with the Sorcerer Kingdom. If you bring some trade there, for example, right? And yeah, there's no need to worry about agonizing neighbors because all of the armies are fucking dead. Who's gonna attack us? Everybody died at the hands of our neighbor, of Ainz Ooal Gown, of the Sorcerer King. Who's gonna attack us? The only force that can attack us is Ainz Ooal Gown. So let's better suck up to him. That's our only chance at survival. He's correct. He very much is correct here. And yes, they can ask for aid, absolutely. And yes, it would be great image. Absolutely, he's smart. He really is correct. He really was correct when he said that if only he was the head of the family, things would have gone differently. I fully believe that. I really fully do believe that. We have no space to hold a bowl. But Hilma Signius apparently has a mansion that can host a bowl. And of course he's the host, but nobody pays him any mind because he just has no presence. He's just a nobody in the eyes of everybody. I didn't pick up that Hilma was that Hilma at first. I was kind of wondering why is she so like snake looking? Why is she so pale? So you'd expect her to blurt out Gollum Gollum at any time, right? Well, the answer is very simple because she's at the beck and call of Nazarick. She's been endlessly tortured by being eaten from inside and then healed back up ad nauseum. Makes sense that she wouldn't be the perfect specimen of perfect health, right? Lack of influential figures. Family heads and future heirs who were newly appointed after the war. Yeah, they haven't been established yet. They're looking for connections, they're looking for power, they're just shopping around. Those are the best kind of people you can invite here. If you invite some nobles that are already entrenched, already have fuck knows how much territory, and are the royal ass wiper of the king or whatever, they're probably not gonna be swayed by whatever you have to say. But if they're young, impressionable, freshly put in the position because everybody else who was qualified is dead and they're the next in line uh, to the to the throne or stool or whatever the lesser nobles are using, makes sense to invite them. Will you be able to create a faction? Probably, yeah. A faction at the beck and call of Nazarick. That's gonna be a theme. I can see that being a theme. She's single, but not in the way you think. This sound. I really thought that this sound and his face. I really thought it's gonna be a moment of Albedo just kind of giving in, giving up. Right? Okay, I've been holding in. He's been touching my. I've been touching his arm. That's bearable. But now the motherfucker touched my arm. I need to do something about it, and his arm is already frozen, or he's just sliced in half, or something like that, or they open the door and there's just a pool of blood and gore because every single invited guest has been spontaneously exploded by the sheer amount of aggressive aura that was emitted from Albedo at this time, right? Something like that. That's what I was expecting. Uh, but no, Albedo can keep up appearances. Cool, cool, cool. Third-rate trash nobles in a first-class venue. They have no idea that this is a feeding ground. In what sense? Like, literally? Are those people gonna be fed to, I don't know, Entoma and whoever else likes human meat? Or metaphorically, a feeding ground for the kingdom, the sorcerer kingdom, feeding on the nobles in some way, using them, I don't know. For a man who is not a woman's husband to accompany her to the sitting room. Yeah. How would you go about courting her? Yeah, Hilma knows what's up. Hilma knows what's up. The PTSD hit. Something's been done to her throat. Was there something done to her throat? Trying to remember. Her knees were broken, and she's been carried by her hair, not by her throat. Was it like she's been eaten from inside out by some bugs, right? There's that like bug creature that even the guardians themselves don't like. I forgot their name, but is she grasping her throat because the bugs were going inside of her through her throat and then proceeded to eat? That might be it. That might be why she's having PTSD attack. Yeah, you had absolutely no semblance of a good connection, my dude. A mere human dared to touch Albedo lustfully. No can do. I was half expecting Albedo's teeth to crack here, but it's kind of an immovable thing, immovable object, and an unstoppable force, right? Her teeth wouldn't be so weak as to crack with her strength, but then again, wouldn't she be strong enough to crack her teeth? Huh? A little bit of a paradox? No need for a new puppet. Alberta just wants to complain a little. She can be professional if she needs to be. We know that. We know that very well. She's been holding her emotions, her anger at Momonga-sama changing his name to Ainz Ooal Gown, for example. We know that. We know that, and she's been masking that very well, so she can don a mask again. A lot of nobles were able to see the level of his idiocy in the royal palace. I'm not sure why that's important. I don't know why establishing this dude as an idiot is important. But then again, I know nothing of what they're planning, so makes sense that I wouldn't know why it's important. Smuggle goods into the Sorcerer Kingdom. Selling these items for a reasonable price. Essentially bringing in some trade, bringing in some wares from the outside, but smuggling them in. Why? Why not a proper trade? Because those lands are still within Riesti's kingdom? And they're technically still at war, kind of deal? Or maybe Riestis just doesn't want to trade with the Sorcerer Kingdom? I guess, yeah, they just might not want to trade. Sure, makes sense, so the goods need to be smuggled. Makes sense. Prepare countermeasures for the kingdom's inevitable food shortage. Yeah, the Sorcerer Kingdom will probably suffer a food shortage. Because there's been no trade, and I don't think there's been anybody working the fields either. Information about magic items, of course. Some cool art. I think it's from the light novel, correct me if I'm wrong. This is cool, although a little unexpected. Or rather, expected in that I fully expected Renner to make contact with Nazarick, or Nazarick to make contact with Renner. Perhaps Demiurge, perhaps Albedo, perhaps someone else entirely, but someone to make contact with her. But unexpected because there's been no foreshadowing that I can tell. Besides, like besides like this episode, in hindsight, right, I can see that Renner has been doing the same thing that Ainz is doing, and she's been asking around for talent holders, right? So something's iffy here. But before that, there hasn't really been any foreshadowing of Renner being contacted by Albedo. Ainz is very satisfied with your work. What does that work entail besides looking for talent holders? And she got a cube. She got a cube. Cute and curious, I guess. About the other thing you desire. What other thing? There's no need for further discussion. What's that other thing? Does she want to become an undead? Does she want Climb to become an undead? Does she want Climb's head fused onto her back so that he can be with her forever? Wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Not in the slightest. She already made preparations to open the cube. Why do you need preparations to open the cube? Is it signed by Pandora? Shadow Demon. Okay, let me see the Shadow Demon real quick. Take care of it before the invasion. Okay, so the invasion is a given. Shadow Demon. Okay. Where did it climb from? From Renner's shadow? Or from Albedo's shadow? I'm not sure. Could it be that it climbed out of Renner's shadow? That she has a shadow demon on her at all times? So that it can constantly hear what she hears and see what she sees, kind of deal? Constant invigilation, maybe? I don't know, I'm not sure. And of course, as women do, they're having a little bit of a girl talk about their boyfriends and about their crushes. Will you tell me about your crush, Poppy? Oh, yes, but I would love to hear about your crush first. Let's have a girls' night. We're gonna do some makeup and a makeover, and we're gonna wear a face mask and watch, I don't know, some girly romance movie. That would actually be a cool idea for an episode of Pleiades, or for an episode of I don't know, Isekai Quartet. Albedo just hanging out with Renner, having a girls' night out. That'd be cool. That'd be great. And that's it. That's episode 2. Haha. What can I say about episode 2? We're still very much in the setup phase. Nothing has really started. The shit hasn't hit the fan quite yet. We're setting up Ainz potentially venturing out somewhere. We're setting up Renner. We're setting up Albedo and her little excursion and her little plan, whatever that plan entails, to fulfill, to see through in Irantel. That's going to be interesting. I'm very much interested in what her end goal is there. To open a trade route to the Kingdom of Nazarick, or maybe to just fully conquer Riesti's kingdom. Maybe that's just her plan. Ainz doesn't even fucking know. He's perfectly content with just holding a single city. Here comes Albedo, just conquers the whole kingdom behind his back, and gives him a key to the kingdom wrapped in a bow as a gift. Wouldn't surprise me, really. But yeah, I'm very interested in what's the deal with Albedo and what's the deal with Renner. I'm very much interested in Brain's attempts to find the next head warrior. I'm thinking that he might have to pick up this mantle himself. Actually, I have something for occasions just like this. I almost forgot that I have this little thing. Come on. Oh, that's Symphogear GX. That's a ruby. I guess it's safe to start Overlord here. Overlord 4. Brain has to pick up the mantle of Royal Head Warrior to his chagrin. I can very much see that being the case. What else? I'm assuming Ainz is gonna go for some adventure because we see him fighting at the arena. That's gonna be interesting. We see the dragons, so I'm assuming Ainz is gonna visit the dragons because we also see the fight against the dragon knight, the human dragon, the dragon armor, I guess. I'm assuming that's gonna be the finale battle, the last boss of the season. I think that's gonna be the case. There is Shaltir. No, there's Albedo fighting that Gundam. Another interesting thing. There's 2 more, I'm assuming, adventurer groups. Will those be the people that Ainz sends out as his scouts, essentially, with his newly established Sorcerer Adventurer Guild? Could it be that one of those adventurers fighting Death Knight is just a subversion? It's not actually that they're fighting to the death, it's just training. That might be the case. Right? The same way we've seen it in the opening of Season 3. Ainz, or Momonga, fighting Yaldabaoth. Or Momon. Yeah, Momon. Momon fighting Yaldabaoth. And we were like, what? Ainz is gonna fight Demir? What the fuck's going on? and then it was subverted because they both planned that fight and it was all staged. I have a feeling that also might be a subversion. Silver hairs. I'm gonna call her trains with death knight. What's next? I think that about does it. Not many more things have appeared. It was mostly, again, it was mostly a setup. I'm assuming from episode 3 onwards, we're gonna start seeing some action. We're gonna start seeing, maybe not quite payoff yet, but we're gonna start seeing some journey. We're gonna learn about some details of Albedo's and Renner's plans, perhaps. We're gonna maybe see Ainz set off on some adventure, perhaps. Maybe we're gonna accompany Brain in his day of training the prospective head warriors. Maybe anything can happen, really. Anything can happen. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the OP we've also seen some dwarves. I think I recall seeing some dwarves. That would be a lot to squeeze into a single season, though. Right? Dragons, dwarves, the whole Riestes shebang with Albedo and Renner, Ainz fighting in some arena, apparently, some Gundam. That would be a lot to squeeze into a single episode, into a single season. Weird. Weird but interesting. I'm certainly interested in when it's gonna go. The CG, I said everything I needed to say about CG. Yes, it's bad. No, it's not as bad as season 3. It's better. They got better at CG. They rather didn't. I'd still rather they didn't, or however you say it, but they did. At least it's not Goblin Army. I guess that's what I have to say about CG here. At least it's not Goblin Army. Yeah, I think that's just gonna be it. I don't think I have anything more to say, so I'm just not gonna waste your time and I'm gonna end it here. So, you guys, you tell me down in the comments below what did you think of this episode of my reaction of my theories. No spoilers. Please, whether a show is great or a show is absolute garbage, I don't appreciate spoilers, so please, 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 please refrain yourselves from spoiling. If you do want to talk spoilers, Discord, here, link also in the description. There's an Overlord channel, you can use spoiler tags and you can spoil to your heart's content. And tell me in the comments otherwise, what do you think of the CG? Is it good enough for you, or is it like super bad? I don't know, tell me about it. Or do you maybe disagree with me that it's better than season 3? If so, why? I don't know. Again, tell me about it. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases, not only of Overlord Season 4, but also Hataraku Sama Season 2 whenever it comes out. Of Yofukashi no Uta, if there is a show that you want to watch just for the beauty, just for the visuals, let it be Yofukashi no Uta. It's great otherwise as well, but it's a really beautiful show. Also releases of Symphogear GX, that's still releasing. Releases of Review Starlight. We had a live of the recap movie not long ago. I think next week I'm gonna be releasing the sequel movie on Patreon, and the week after it's gonna be released to YouTube. And after that, I'm gonna be holding a poll. I'm gonna be holding a vote for what non-seasonal show is gonna be replacing Review. And if you wanna vote in that poll, $5 on my Patreon gives you a right to do that. Speaking of, you can support my channel if you want. If you want to do that monetarily, you can do that. Links in the description on Patreon or Throne. On Throne, you can pitch into some gear upgrades like a new camera, cam link, stuff like that. And on Patreon, you can just support me monthly, and for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonals like Simple Gear, like Review, like whatever is replacing Review. For $5 you get a right in the vote, as I said, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord server, and you also get a place in the credits. Join the Discord. It's open to everybody. You don't need to support me on Patreon to be there. Just link here, link in the description, as I mentioned. And if you don't want to spend any money and still want to support the channel, you can of course do that by spreading the word. Share my content around, share it on Discord, share it on Reddit, share it on Skype if anybody still uses that. Because the more word of mouth spreads about my channel, the better it is for my channel. And I'm very grateful to everybody who spreads the gospel of my content. And with all of that, I think that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits that I mentioned. You can join this list, or you can help create another at a different tier.